guys, girls, and whole new worlds. Welcome to the first ever episode of our brand new podcast, Character Crashers, where we discuss both popular and obscure media that we enjoy and come up with character concepts surrounding the fandoms. I'm Colin.
I'm Morgan.
And I'm Taylor, and today's media of choice is the ever-popular League of Legends fantasy series, Arcane. Today's episode is based on the series Arcane. The setting takes place in Piltover and Zaun. Piltover is on the wealthy end of the spectrum, and later becomes a powerhouse through the development of Hextech, a form of technology based on magic system. Zaun is a less wealthy counterpart. The city is often getting the shorter end of the stick compared to Piltover. The city is wrought with pollution and is run by chem barons whose main source of power is a drug called Shimmer. Tensions between the two main locations tend to be high. It should be noted that although magic exists in this world, Hextech is the only form of magic we are introduced to.
All of us tend to create OCs for fandoms that we love, and the three of us are no exception. I myself am the only one of the three of us who created an OC all the way back in season 1 of Arcane. I'd like to introduce you all to Iris, an elf-like woman with the feathery wings of an angel. Even though I've watched all of Arcane, I'm not well versed in the character species of League of Legends, so I just rolled with the character design idea I liked and prayed it fit. Iris, despite how ethereal she looks, is actually a born and raised Zaunite from the underground city of Zaun. She's first introduced to the series around the same time as Silco, an infamous chem baron and the main antagonist of Arcane Season 1. Throughout Season 1, we are shown that Iris has a close partnership with Silco, both in a professional and romantic sense. Unfortunately, at the end of Season 1's first arc, Iris is caught in the warehouse explosion Powder, one of the main characters of the series, caused, and like some of other characters caught in the explosion, Iris was greatly injured. From then on, we see Iris with burn scars all along her left side, and she sadly no longer has her wings due to the damage she sustained, forcing her to have to amputate them. Despite the trauma and loss, Iris remains loyal and by Silco's side for the rest of Season 1, assisting and leading the manufacture of Shimmer and raising their unofficially adopted daughter Powder, or as she's known throughout the rest of the series, Jinx.
Now's the time for the open mic portion of our podcast, where we voice our unfiltered thoughts and ideas for a collaboration OC for Arcane Season 1.
Alright, so...
Where do you guys want to start with the OC?
Do you want to just, each of us, go with, what our thoughts, what were our ideas that we had gathered
I have
on?
no thoughts.
You have no thoughts. Okay.
I have a whole bunch. I'm down to go through.
I have probably the shortest amount of thoughts, so
Yeah.
you want me to just go first and then we can streamline
Yeah,
yours?
you can go on
Okay.
yours.
So, I just thought, I have the feeling that we could do, a female or a non-binary character.
Mhm.
I feel like an animal-like species would be fun to use, because there's quite a few of them in Arcane. Specifically, a Chirian, which is a bat-like characters, the fish-like characters, or a Vastia, which is, the cat-like species. Although those are specific to Piltover, as far as I could see. And I'm currently in the thought process of potentially living in Zaun, either born and raised, or born in Piltover and lives in Zaun now, which could be
I
helpful
feel
for if
like-
we do the cat version.
Yeah, I feel like Piltover and then the
Lives in Zaun.
would be a nice switch.
That
Yeah.
would be an interesting one.
It would
add
add to the character, I feel
yeah.
like.
I'm considering maybe a mage, they have special markings along their body and face, or they could just have a tattoo. I just like the idea of, from mages that we've seen, potentially, they have, markings all over them. I think that's just a cool idea. Potentially, this is a season 2 thing now that I think about it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
So season 2.
The next thing that I had added was something season 2 related. So maybe we should just hold that off for season 2.
Yeah, we hold
Okay.
off for season 2.
Okay, so Colin, what is your...
So we actually had, it seems like we had a fairly similar track of mind for some of the stuff. So for gender, I was thinking maybe female for it.
Mhm.
I had a few different ideas for species. So we could go human, but I feel like that's a little less.
Basic.
So
Basic.
yeah, exactly. So I had a few ideas for us. So maybe something with wings like a bird or a bat. If it's a bird, maybe something raven-like. If it's, or maybe a scaled being. So maybe something along the lines of a leopard gecko or a bearded Komodo dragon type design. There's something a little different, snake
Very
or lizard
specific.
Just kind of designs I saw online that I
I
thought
like
could be
the
cool
idea
for a
of snake
character.
life.
Yeah,
It would
I
be
feel like snakey would
especially
be
since
very
we don't
cool.
have a lot of snake-like beings. I think the
Justice
closest
for snakes.
I think the closest we have is the fish-like beings because
Yeah.
they also have scales, but we
Yeah.
haven't seen anything that's really reptilian and
Yeah, I feel like reptilian would be something different that like we haven't really seen all that much.
Yeah, and something we could experiment with.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be cool.
I came up with some abilities or like skills that the character could potentially have. Maybe just like they're like a very crafty individual, or something like a weaponsmith, or being animal-like, maybe a heightened sense of smell. I feel like telekinesis or psychokinesis could be pushing it a little, but open to it. Or maybe something like mage-like shadow magic.
Okay.
For like home place of residence, I was thinking Piltover I was thinking Zahn, but I do like your idea that, maybe
Like Piltover,
screw up in Piltover and move to Zahn.
Zahn. That is on my top.
I think that would be like a really fun idea to go with.
Because then you gotta think about because we've had people from Zahn move to Piltover. You gotta consider the fact of what does somebody who lived in Piltover, why did they end up in Zahn?
Exactly. A few other things, I thought of some distinguishing features we could give the character, maybe like a face or a back scar, heterochromia. If it has wings, maybe there's like a tear in one of them, or, prosthetic body part. Outfit ideas, maybe like cloaked or like a suit or just something like a little off. And then just some extra fun potential traits to give the character, maybe like lockpicker, amazing poker face, tech savvy, or just really sucks at riding a bike.
I love really sucks at riding a bike for some reason.
Do they have? No, they do have bikes. I remember
They do.
Weird bike with the large wheel in front.
Yeah.
Like one of those old tiny bikes. I remember seeing that in the show.
And then I just had we could always brainstorm more, but just a few name ideas that came to mind were like Pangea, Celine, Clara, Zari, or Xavia.
Are we talking about?
Are we talking about? Yeah,
I feel like it just sounds like a cool name. So
Pangea is a great idea.
just for the bit, I threw
I
it on
love
there.
Pangea.
I think it
But I
would
like
be a good
Xavia.
idea
Xavia's
to
not
kind
bad or
of.
something like
What was
that.
it, Xavia?
Yeah.
It's not
Xavia's
bad.
cool.
I think
Yeah, it was the ones I had were Xavia, Zari, Clara, Celine, and Pangea. But we don't have to go with those. Those
Go
are
ahead,
just
Taylor.
ideas.
I love snake idea. Can we go?
I
with
do
snake
like the
idea?
snake
Snake idea? Yeah.
Snake
I
idea.
think
Hell yeah.
something we should do is we should hold off on name until we figure out
what it's
what
gonna
the
look
gender
like
is.
in the gender and
Well,
everything.
yeah, I think when I come up with OC ideas, I usually save the name for towards the end, because once I have a clear picture of what the character looks like, then I can kind of think of ideas, and once I know what they look like, what their personality kind of
like a name that
seems
matches that.
a name that matches that, because a lot of times when I look at names, I also look at what they mean. And while that doesn't always have to do with it, it's always nice to think about how it sounds and compare it to how I know the character looks and acts and see if it fits.
Usually for my OCs, I usually do the naming after as well, but for this one, I just had some ideas that popped in my head for potentially, depending on how it looks.
As of right
So
now,
it's
from
just
the
ideas.
names that you listed, Pangea is funny just because it's super confident.
Exactly.
What was the Xavia one?
Xavia.
Xavia.
But spelled with
Xavia's
an X
also
at the
cool.
beginning.
I like
Xavia,
that.
I kind of like. I think that was what I was thinking. Xavia.
Yeah.
Xavia is one that I kind of like. So
I
we
think-
could, and it seems like the best fit for something.
Yeah, again, we could always see how the OC looks and then go from there.
Yeah.
But
We need
just some
to
brainstorming
figure
ideas.
out why the character ended up.
From Piltover to
Yeah,
Zahn.
I feel like it has to be something significant.
Do we want to say it's a fall from grace type thing, or
I feel
know.
like maybe it could be a family thing. They got cut off from any family funds that they had.
okay. I
We
like
also
that.
gotta consider the fact that there is only, as far as I can tell, there's only one version of a person from Piltover who ended up in Zahn, and that was Heimerdinger, because he was from Piltover and he kind of started hanging around Zahn.
I
My
mean,
boy.
he did it because of his own choice, though.
Yes,
He
but
did.
he was doing it because he wanted to see. He went there first off to see how people in Zahn were living, and when he realized that they were in a really bad situation, more so than they realized, he decided he wanted to help. So maybe that's something that we could do on our character, where it's they basically wanted to be a good person and help out those who live in Zahn, and so now they live in Zahn to try and be better people. Maybe they work with the Firelights, who knows?
Okay. I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking it was a fall from grace.
fall from grace.
We could
that's what
do
I'm
that
saying. Yeah.
too. I do like that.
It was a forceful, they're not allowed back in Piltover.
If you
type of
consider the
situation.
fact that we're doing somebody who is very reptilian-like, I feel like somebody who's very reptilian-like wouldn't be somebody who was born in Zahn. I mean, not born in Zahn, born in Piltover. So maybe their physical appearance has something to do with their fall.
Yeah, maybe it's they were born in Piltover, but kind of discriminated against because
Yeah.
unusual species or something out of the ordinary.
Something like that.
Yeah, I could see that happening in Piltover.
Piltover.
I think we should consider age range. Like, so are they gonna be around like, say like, so Vi towards, I'm considering like towards like not Arc 1, but like the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Vi is like older teenager, young adult, like early 20s. How
Yeah,
old
I
is
think
I think
Vi's in
she's
her
early
20s.
20s.
early 20s?
Yeah.
So
Young
Vi and Caitlyn are like early 20s. Jinx is like late teens.
Yeah, I think she's like 18 or 19.
Jace is like mid
Jace
to
is,
late
like,
20s.
Jace is-
right?
I'd say-
possibly
I'd
30s.
say
He might
early
be in his
30s,
30s.
early
30s.
30s.
Well,
So I
because
think
he
we
was
need-
an adult, basically, or like
I think-
college student age.
I think at the very
when
least we need
Jace
to-
was like 5.
Yes, I think we at the very least need to consider what age range
Our character's gonna
our
be.
characters are going to be. Like, are they going to be around Jace, Victor, and Mel's age? Are they going to be around like Vi and Caitlyn's age? Are they going to be around Jinx's age? They could even very well be around like Silco and Vander's age, like in their 40s or something.
Mhm.
Like, I think we need to consider like how old they're going to be, and that'll basically help with how we design them and what their outfits are going to be like.
Yeah.
Because I feel like depending on your age, your style is fairly different as well.
That makes sense.
I think I kind of like the idea that maybe it's more around like Vi and Caitlin's age, just because
On
kind
the
of
younger side?
keep like the young adult vibe to it.
Okay.
Yeah, and if we went with the whole Echo Lights situation, that would be like
Firelights?
Firelights.
Yeah,
If we went with that situation, it makes more sense for them to be a younger person
Yeah.
because that like age
I felt like
range
that.
feels
I
very
do feel
useful.
like that community was fairly younger.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like it was like around people are close to Echo's age and younger was what I remember seeing, at the very least. So there is some stuff there.
So what do we decide? We decided 20s.
I think we've decided.
I'm gonna write this down
Good
as we
idea.
go.
I think we've decided like early 20s, reptilian species. Do we want to do female or do we want to do like non-binary? I
I'm
think
kind
it
of
would-
leaning towards female.
towards female. Okay, we could go with female. What if we did like? What if we did like a she/they?
Yeah, that works.
Because then
Okay.
it's like a happy middle. So it'd be like
Yeah.
But more, I'd say probably like lean towards the more feminine in appearance wise,
Yeah.
but can identify as both she, her, they, them.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Right, you agree?
Yeah, I
we
agree.
said we wanted them to be born in Piltover and lives in Zon now.
Yeah,
Potentially a firelight.
potentially.
Okay.
Well, I feel like first we should decide
We could
their,
spitball that.
Yeah.
what is it, moral,
More
like where
what
they
are their
stand
Where
on
we
the
stand
moral
morally.
scale.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anything else that we said? What else was on our list? I think for the name, I think Xavier. I'm very much on the name
Xavier?
you said, Xavier. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you cool with that, Taylor? Xavier?
Yeah, Xavier sounds sick.
Sweet.
I think with what we've decided so far, it sounds like the most fitting name for the character so far.
Yeah.
It might change once we start designing the character, but I think from what we know so far.
Do we want to talk about like character traits?
We can talk about character traits, yeah. Okay, so I think definitely character traits, like personality-wise, and what like they like to do, potentially what their profession is, could very much help on how they dress and how they style themselves.
Mhm.
So we're not certain about the firelight thing we said,
Okay.
right? We're
Not certain. That's
we're
Yeah,
not
just
certain.
potentially
it's a
a
potential
firelight.
thing, but it's not. Okay. So we know they're in Zon, so we have to consider Zon like clothing.
Right.
What kind of profession could they potentially have in Zon?
Bounty hunter.
Bounty
Oh,
hunter.
you know, I'm totally down for bounty
I can
hunter.
kind of see that. That actually is very interesting idea.
I feel like it'd be badass because you said the thing about that being able to like track people. Type
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah, and being like crafty and stuff like that. Yeah.
I feel
I'll put
like
bounty
if
hunter
they
down.
got like paid to hunt people down, like that could be their whole stick.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. I'm totally down for bounty hunter.
Let's go back to the fall from grace thing. What do we want to? Because I feel like probably their fall from grace from Piltover to Zon will also lead them into their bounty hunter aspect of
Mhm.
profession.
Maybe they're an ex-enforcer.
Mm.
Like they got fired from their position.
I do kind of like that because
Yeah.
now they're more of like still some form of official What is bounty hunters? Bounty hunter is like an official title that works with police sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, but not always.
Yeah, so would they potentially be like... Okay, here's the thing here. Are we going to say that they align with law enforcement bounty hunter, or could they be like a bounty hunter for like
freelance
group, like freelance, like where the money goes? Or
I think I like the
feeling
idea
more
of freelance.
freelance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
So, yeah.
I feel like whatever made them lose their job as an enforcer leads them into a more ambiguity.
Yeah.
Like looking out for themselves.
Maybe
type
the
deal.
reason they lost their job as an enforcer was something to do with their morals or like how they acted as an enforcer. Maybe it was like they didn't.
Like they disagreed with something that was going on.
Yeah, something like that. Like they disagreed with something, or the way that they treated people as an enforcer was frowned upon or something. Although I feel like there's a lot of things that the enforcers do that is just
That's
Yeah.
suspicious.
that's just it's sucky and nobody really bats an eye to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so was an enforcer, got fired or something like that.
For like either disagreeing with something or
Yep.
treated people wrong.
became a freelance bounty hunter.
Yep.
Okay. So with that in mind, a bounty hunter thought process, I can kind of see them wearing like fairly like dark clothing or just clothing that like hides their identity kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that's what some bounty hunters do. Either they're fairly notorious and they wear or they wear clothes that try to hide their identity. I'm thinking like back to like bounty hunters I've seen in like, I'm gonna use Star Wars as an example.
Yeah.
There was a lot of characters that were bounty hunters that tended to hide their face, either with like some sort of face mask, or there was that one guy who had a large brimmed hat that would always like cover his face in shadows or whatever. So I feel like something specifically just like to cover their face and keep their identity hidden would be nice.
I feel like considering the species we're going with being snake-like and kind of just stands out a lot,
Yeah.
maybe something that covers more, because otherwise there might be more distinguishing features if I could easily call them out.
Are we thinking snake-like or are we thinking reptilian-like? I'd like to know if this character has legs or if they have like snake tail as like
I
their
think
legs.
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 Are you guys thinking right?
Do
Yeah.
we want to give them like a reptilian tail?
I like the idea of a tail.
Like a reptilian tail, okay. Definitely gonna have a scale pattern. Are they gonna be more of like full reptilian, or are they going to be more of like a humanoid person? Like basically like human-esque person with reptilian
I feel like
Features.
human-esque with reptilian features.
with reptilian features, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that would be an interesting aspect too, because potentially, they could be half and half. Like one of their parents is a human, one of their parents is a reptilian person.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Okay.
Or it could just be a part of their species.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we want to go back to then what we want to do for identity concealment?
Yeah. Do we want to do like a face mask type thing? I'm very much on the face mask type thing.
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like a face mask.
At the
would be
very least,
cool.
something like I'm thinking like something that like covers like over the top
Half
of their
the
mouths,
face.
like half their face. Like I feel like their eyes.
Like the here down.
Yeah, either I'm like very on the topic of like nose down being covered.
Yeah, we can use a gas mask or something like similar
Ooh,
to an
I like
enforcer's
that.
mask,
Gas
but they
is very
fucked it
much
up.
with Zon too because of like the.
Pollution.
Actually, that's interesting aspect of somebody who's from Piltover living in Zon now.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like, especially somebody who has a very acute sense of smell.
Yeah.
Maybe they're sensitive to the gaseous sense of
Like the pollution
Zon.
and everything down
So
there.
maybe not only is the gas mask a part of hiding their face, but it's also a assistance to help them breathe properly in Zon.
Yeah.
Okay, I like
okay,
that.
I see
I like
that.
that.
So if you kick the gas mask off them, they stop like breathing. They start
I don't know if they stop breathing, but
it's like, oh, help me.
No, just like heavily over exaggerate. Oh my god, I can't breathe. Falls to the ground. Isn't actually dead or injured. Just like
I think like well,
overreacting.
I think if you were to target their gas mask, they would immediately like scramble to get it back.
Yeah,
on
I
their
feel like it'd be
face.
so cool. I can imagine that in a fight sequence, like that falls off and they suddenly start scrambling for it, and like someone who's actually lived in Zon for like ages is just laughing yelling at them.
It's like a character that we've seen. It's like characters that we've seen before, not with like breathing help, but like with like glasses. If you're in a fight with glasses, if that falls off, you're screwed.
Oh yeah.
So like same thing
Well, like
with
Velma
like
scenario.
what?
Velma scenario loses the
Velma
glasses,
scenario-
totally screwed.
My
I
glasses.
can't find my
see
glasses.
without my glasses. Yeah, so like in similar scenario, my gas mask. I can't breathe without my gas mask.
Oh no, not the gas mask.
Not the gas mask.
But yeah.
But yeah, do we know what style gas mask we're going
Okay,
for?
so you know like the ones that the painters use, where it's like the two things on either side and that thing in the middle, right? You know
With
what
the
I'm
air
talking about.
filters,
Yeah, I feel like one of those would be
Definitely
really
needs to
cool.
be-
Well, like what you see like people who do like graffiti and the spray paint do. I feel like
Could
that would be a
potentially
really
their
cool
gas mask be from when they were an enforcer? Because
That's what I was
there was
thinking.
Okay.
enforcers who had
Like,
gas masks. Like if
It
she
definitely was a thing.
if she took one of the gas masks that she had from being an enforcer, she just kept it. She
Yeah.
could use that in her.
She could just
everyday life
tell
and so on.
anyone that she stole it off of like an enforcer.
She stole it off an enforcer. Like
She
she
stole
was.
it off of an enforcer.
Yeah. She doesn't have her badge anymore. No one knows that she was an enforcer because not many people in Zon actually go up to
And pay attention to
Bilbo
Right.
that sort
and
of
go
thing.
and pay attention.
That
to
would be also great blackmail material on that character.
It would be.
Ah, if
Totally,
somebody
like,
were
if
to
someone
try to be
figured it
like,
out.
I know who
Yeah.
you were.
Because they would be fucked in terms of business.
Yes.
No one would want to have business
Would-
with an
Okay,
ex-enforcer.
was it Xavier? Is that
Yeah.
what we're saying? If Xavier were to get in a situation like that,
Mhm.
let's consider Xavier's notoriety. Like, how would she deal with people who try to cross her?
Ooh.
Like, would she be that type of bounty hunter to, if she got screwed over with payment, just immediately? Wait, if she, as a bounty hunter, would she be the person to kill a person, or would she be the person to like capture and bring back to the person?
I
Would
think
it
it
depend
depends
on
on
the
the.
situation?
I think it depends on the
Yeah, it
situation, on
depends on
who
the
hires her, if
Okay.
they want dead or alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say if somebody tries to cross her in like a payment situation, like how would she deal with that person? Would she kill them? Would she how would she do
If
that?
she wasn't paid or if she owed them money.
She wasn't paid.
If she
I
wasn't
feel
paid.
like she'd take the target, like, and just, like, uncapture them. Like, be like,
Yeah.
oh,
That
I
would
guess
be
you're not
like-
getting your
that
target
would be like
anymore.
if it's a live scenario. If they were, I feel like if she was to try and get if they wanted her to kill somebody, she needs like either like a deposit or money just upfront.
I think some kind of deposit were like half now, half later type
Yeah.
deal.
because then at least she still gets money even
Yeah,
if she
I mean,
doesn't.
I guess I kind of see her as more of an information giver in terms of like tracking people down and type of stuff. Like, I don't know necessarily if she has like the brute strength to like drag someone's ass all the way to like another person. So I feel like she'd either have to work in like a team,
Okay.
or she would like
Or she would only go in
she would work
catching them
alone
alive scenarios.
and maybe use like a type of poison on whoever her targets are, so they're easier to drag
Her
back.
being a reptilian would make sense on the poison aspect,
Yeah.
on the
I agree.
venom.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's her natural venom.
Maybe.
Her natural venom has something. Okay, I think we need to talk about like potentially her natural venom, like either like a paralysis agent or a knockout agent.
I feel like paralysis.
I want to say paralysis. yeah.
Paralysis. I feel what reptile has paralysis abilities? I think it's what is it called? It's like a lizard. It's a type of lizard. I'm blanking on it.
We can
A
look
Komodo
up-
dragon, maybe.
What is it come out?
I can start looking up some
Maybe.
That would
things,
be cool.
but we can look up more at a later time. But I'm gonna start looking up some now while we're
Yeah.
continuing talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, Komodo's one of the idea designs I mentioned
Yeah.
earlier. Could be cool.
Yeah. I feel like paralysis would be really sick.
Perry.
Perry? Who? But yeah, I feel like that type of way of taking down targets would be like cool, and I
That
would
would
think it would make more sense.
Do we want to say maybe it's like, well, where do we want it to come out of the paralysis? Like, do we want to say it's like a little something at the end of her tail, or like maybe something with like a
I
venomous
think
bite?
more accurately with reptiles, it's usually with the bite. So I think part of it would be like,
Chomp chomp, I guess.
because I know we said like if her gas mask is removed, she has a hard time breathing. But what if she's learned to like hold her breath for the sake of like using her bite against people? Like just like for an instant, like you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool, because then
Okay.
she could walk up to a target and have the mask like being taken off like a badass.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
I'm thinking an instance of like Spider-Man, like I don't know, Into the Spider-Verse or whatever, with Miguel when he would.
Oh yeah,
Because
he's a vampire, right?
Because
Yeah.
his mask would like retract so that way he could bite a person. And I think his had a paralysis agent too.
Yeah, it was definitely something like that.
So, but
All
yeah,
right.
I think we do need to look into what sort of, because are we, I think if we're doing a character who has legs and a reptilian tail, it would have to be some sort of lizard that we're basing them off of and not a snake. Because I feel like snake makes more sense if we were basing them with like a snake tail as their legs. So we need to look for a lizard, like lizard with a venomous paralysis bite. Back to the grind.
Back to the girl.
I do need to start. I'm gonna start looking up paralysis lizards.
Yeah,
while
see
you guys-
see what comes up. So, do we want to go back and talk about more of like the design for her outfit if we're going with the bounty hunter theme? So we know
Yeah.
about the gas mask. We know
Yeah.
we said we want to put her in something dark.
Yeah.
Obviously it's an enforcer gas mask. We already know it's about like the reptilian scales and the tail and it's human-esque. But for her like actual outfit, do we want to do something that's like a bit more tattered, or do we want to make it so her bounty hunter outfit is still in kind of like pristine or at least decent condition?
I'm thinking that I'm trying to think about how cold Zon would probably be, and also lizards are cold-blooded.
Lizards are cold-blooded.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know how certain chemicals would affect like snakeskin. So I imagine like a tight layer, and then more layers on top of that. That might be more like messed up and
Okay.
ragged. Just to like add multiple levels of protection against chemicals, which I feel like.
Yeah, so you said a tight layer and just protection against chemicals?
Yeah. Just multiple layers in general, because cold-blooded gets cold easily.
I almost kind of picture like around the neck is like one of those like think like Cassidy for
Yeah,
Overwatch, just
like
got like
one
the
of
scarf
those-
thing that
yeah.
but like just kind of like one direction, like over the shoulder kind of, but also tattered.
Oh, you mean like what is it? Savika. Savika has a
Yeah,
Fit
so,
like
yeah,
that.
something like that. So it's like the
Yeah.
tattered
The tattered cloak thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
like a little
tattered-
cowboy aesthetic. Okay.
yeah, so like a tattered like bandana, or what would you call it? A bandana maybe, or
Well, I think the word is a I'm blanking on the word. Poncho.
Oh yeah, poncho.
yeah,
It's a
poncho.
poncho.
So
Would
like a
we
tattered
have-
poncho.
Would we have it in a very similar instance of Savika though, where it's like it's more covering one side?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
So like covering like one shoulder mostly.
Yeah, so not like an actual poncho.
But yeah, I'll write down
But
poncho,
something
but
like
like
that.
we know what we
We
mean
know
with
what
it.
we mean.
Yeah, but like
Say-
in a little bit
Say in
tattered.
parentheses like Savika.
Yeah.
So some lizards with venom that cause paralysis. Komodo dragon, as
Yep,
we said.
see?
I'm
Also,
so smart.
also
Nice.
a Gila monster, but since we already mentioned
Komodo dragon?
do we just want to use Komodo dragon?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
as
the
an
idea of
example.
Komodo dragon.
So, characters designed mostly based off Komodo dragon then?
Yeah.
Which they're fairly they've got like a grayish green type scale thing. I think we should consider I want to ask, would this character have hair?
I feel
Probably.
like probably
Because we said they were
not.
fairly we said
I mean,
they were
if we're
fairly
human-esque, then
human-esque.
actually.
So maybe they do have hair. I don't know. I think we should probably. I think like that could be like a design choice because again, we're drawing this.
Yeah.
Each of us ourselves are drawing this. I think the hair thing should be something like if we want to add hair, we can add hair. If we don't want to add hair, we don't have hair.
Exactly,
We
yeah.
all
literally-
do separately.
Because it's just gonna be our own thought process based on the character designs we're coming up with.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I get that.
Our own separate ideas.
Do we want to talk about like distinguishing features? Like, do we want to do some kind of scar or like facial mark that kind of like?
I feel like having the scales in and of itself of their
Is enough of a
complexion
thing.
is fairly distinguishable in and of itself. Not to mention, again, we haven't seen fairly many lizard-like characters
Yeah.
in Arcane. Are there lizard-like characters in League of Legends in and of itself?
Oh god, I don't know.
Who the hell knows?
No.
It's gonna be a
I'm
very
sure there
similar
is.
instance of my original character where it's like we just think of a character design we like.
Well,
and
there's
pray.
characters
Yeah.
with wings in League of Legends.
There's characters with wings in League
For
of Legends.
sure.
There's characters with scales in League of Legends.
Yeah.
Are they lizards?
Who
Who
knows?
knows?
Who knows? I'm going to say, with the fact, if we're basing them off of a Komodo dragon, we're gonna have to consider the character's build. Like, are they?
Well, now that we're saying Komodo dragon, I imagine them buff
Komodo
as
dragon's
hell.
fairly
Komodo dragons are
chunky.
buff.
So I think we should consider the fact that the character, even if they are female, has a fairly
Buff Komodo
buff.
dragon.
Yeah.
Now
Komodo
I can
dragon
imagine
build.
the character dragging someone's ass alive.
Because I was very much on the aspect of thinking them as like a fairly like
Yeah, I was thinking about a
skinny,
small.
Yeah.
Because
like
I was
small.
thinking snake.
Because
Yeah.
I was thinking snake too, but if we're going Komodo dragon, we can
We want to
very
give them a
much-
bit of muscle.
They're gonna have a Savika build.
They're gonna have a severe.
I'm literally just gonna put buff and Savika build.
So
in the
yeah,
thing.
now that we say like, plus we were going with the paralysis agent thing, I feel like if they
That's
paralyze somebody, they would need to be able to move the person.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they'd
So
be able
having-
to lift them up one
So
arm.
having
easy.
we're gonna toss them over our shoulder like a potato sack
Yeah,
and just
literally.
carry them off.
Actually, love
Dude,
that so bad.
Do we want to add? I like that. Do we want to add any kind of like accessories to go with that? Like, are there any other tool she uses, or are we just saying it's purely just like her muscle and her
Maybe
full-on
she
her
body?
still has
muscle and her
enforces
paralysis
handcuffs.
bite. Oh,
The handcuffs
enforcer
are a good
handcuffs would
idea.
be a good idea too. I was wondering, are we going to say, because what is she doing? Like, is she specifically doing capture missions, or would she ever take like a kill mission?
I think it depends on the employer,
Yeah.
but I feel like she would.
I feel like it's mostly.
Well, I don't
I
think
feel
it
like
would.
mostly
I
capture,
don't
but I
think it
feel like
would
I could see
depend
her.
on the employer, because I think like when it comes to bounty hunters, they are notorious for
Killing people.
what they're
They have their own codes.
Yeah, their own codes, and also what they're specifically good for individually.
Yeah.
Like, there can be people that are like specifically good at being a sniper. There are people who are specifically good at being muscle.
Yeah.
We could potentially say that Xavier is Xavier?
Xavier.
I'm gonna have to keep on asking.
Yeah.
How to say that? Xavier could be very well known and notorious for being good at using their paralysis bite for capture missions. They could very well be against killing, because again, was once an enforcer and now just got kicked out. So
Considering that she was an enforcer, maybe it would be good to give
have
her
a
that
moral
bit of
code
a moral
against,
code.
against killing.
Yeah.
Like, she'll capture targets, but she won't be the one to take a life, unless it's like a life or death situation.
Yes.
Okay, that makes
Okay,
sense.
yeah, I like
Also,
that.
I like the idea of capture missions in the first place. Because, like, could you imagine, like, having to owe a debt to a Chembaron or something, and then you get this giant woman who comes after you because you forgot to pay on time?
Where's knocks on my door? Who is it? Breaks down the door. Where's my money?
Yeah.
Literally.
Piece of delivery.
Literally.
Okay,
oh
I
my
know we
God.
said that she's a bounty hunter and she's doing capture missions. But
Yeah.
potentially, depending on how much an employer is paying her, do you think she would take jobs of being like someone's bodyguard too?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah,
Savika.
yeah,
I
easily.
feel like Savika is very bodyguard
Yeah.
type, but I feel like if you look at Savika, she's very bodyguard type, but she could also be a bounty hunter. Our
Yeah.
character is bounty hunter, but could also be a bodyguard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining them next to each other now.
Savika, what if like depending?
Hmm.
I feel like now that we're thinking about it, what if our character does get hired by someone? Would
Okay.
Savika and Xavier be like a good team? That would be fun.
I feel like they'd be a great team.
I feel
They would
like
be.
They
we just
get
got
shit
two
done.
Yeah.
buff women.
They'd get shit
Wait,
done.
actually, that makes me think of another question. How tall do we want to make our character? How tall do we want
Do
to
we
make
want to
Xavier?
make them
At
taller
least
than
as tall as Savika.
either as tall as Savika or taller?
Do you want to look up how tall Savika is?
How tall is Savika? Hold on. How tall are? We know that Komodo dragons can be quite large. How tall is
They can be.
Savika?
Because if that's what we're going with, I feel like making them the same height or roughly similar, maybe like an inch or two off.
It doesn't really have a specific. I'm gonna just go into Reddit. What do people on Reddit say?
Oh yeah, let's try. Yeah,
How
time
tall
to,
is she?
We're gonna
I
trust
feel like
Reddit.
she's at least 6 feet.
Yeah, I think that's what
She
Reddit's
is
saying.
rather tall.
She's 6 feet.
I think that's what Reddit's saying. Yeah, a lot of Reddit's saying that she's like close to 6 feet.
Yeah, I'd say we can just keep
She's
our
fairly
character 6
tall in
feet.
and of itself. How tall is?
Tall.
So we could probably. How tall is tall?
How tall is tall?
How tall is
the
tall?
tallest?
The tallest?
God.
I feel like Savika would wear heels.
So apparently
Like every image, she just
apparently
looks tall.
Silco is 5'9", and we know that Savika's taller than him, but
Holy
not by
shit.
much.
So do we want to say she's like
She's
5'10",
she's
5'11"?
6 foot.
We're gonna say
Or just round it to
Savika's 6 feet.
Yeah.
Do we want to? I want the character to either be same. I feel like I want the character to either be same height as Savika or slightly taller. Because again, Komodo dragon.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. I vote for same height.
Same height.
I'm good with same
Because I
height.
feel like it would be funny if they were standing next to each other as bodyguards.
Yeah.
Because you know how bodyguards are usually the
Yeah,
same
like
height?
like back to back.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm gonna be
matching.
one of those people. Girlfriends.
Girlfriends?
Savika and
Maybe.
and Xavier girlfriends. Like maybe like or
I feel
maybe
like
not even,
if we
maybe
design
not
a little
even-
more of a story for it, maybe. But
maybe
not
not
sure
even
yet.
like girlfriends, but just like they have one night stands on occasion.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd accept that. I'd accept that.
I mean, we know that Savika goes to the brothel on occasion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really think about whenever I make an OC pairing them up with a canon character.
I do.
Because I like keeping my
I do
characters
just not off the
separate.
bat.
Like background characters who see the shit that's going down and they're like, well, fuck.
I think like once you make the character, then like as we develop a story for it a little more.
If we develop a story more,
Yeah.
which I feel like it does sound like we are developing a bit of a story. For
So
them.
far, yeah.
I feel like we could figure that out, but like yeah.
Like I need to get like that image of the
I
character
feel like
before pairing
at
it.
the very least they're aware of each other's existence.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like
But I
they'll
thi- I
look at
think
each
them
other
being a
and they'll
team would be
nod.
great.
They'll nod.
Yes.
There's the
Okay.
mutual respect.
Mutual
between
respect.
Savika.
for
One of those like
powerhouses.
unspoken things just looks at each other. Head nod.
Two
Because they
women
both
that
know they're
respect each
doing
other.
the real shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright.
I think they both know just not to fuck with one another.
I
Yeah,
think we have a fairly clear image of. At least I have a fairly clear image.
I got a
of
good
the
image in my head.
character.
Yeah.
I don't, but like, it's okay. I'll figure that out in
You
post.
just listen to us
I-
talk.
I
over
have
and over.
all
You'll
the
get it
I
eventually.
have all the notes too. I'll put them all in a Google Doc later today.
I'm
That
so
would be good,
hyped
yeah.
to draw.
Yeah, I'm gonna organize
I
them
I'm
more.
hyped to draw.
I have a lot of ideas.
I'm hyped to draw them. I'm also hyped to draw them in like I'm. Not only do I plan on like drawing the character, but I kind of want to draw like little like scene drawings of them.
Hmm.
I might draw them side by side with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen. If you don't do it, I will.
I'm glad I've at least like drawn like a reptilian character before, because now I have an idea of kind of how to do
I
the structure
haven't.
for it. Although I am gonna make some changes based off the Komodo dragon.
I'm
That's all
probably
I do.
going to need to figure out how to draw buff woman. I'm gonna
I
draw.
just gotta draw buff lizard arms.
I'm gonna draw Savika. Like do a study on Savika for figuring out the body type. of the character.
Yeah, okay, I see. That's a good idea. That's
Okay.
all
We
right.
have a plan.
I
have
think
a
I think
character.
I think this is a damn good solid.
It worked.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
All right.
All right, and with that, this has been the very first episode of our new podcast, Character Crashers. We hope you all enjoyed our discussion of Arcane Season 1. If you're interested in more character media and creativity, go ahead and hit that follow button.
And
And
until next time, stay crashing.